This is the story of how a Minecraft villager almost destroyed our server. But before we can get into that, I have to tell you how he first came to power. At first, I was just working on creating a dog army. It was going swimmingly. I even started work on their home. This is when I made the mistake of visiting one of the server's main towns. I forgot to record, but basically I was killed as a punishment. I tried getting my revenge, but it was a hopeless cause. So now you're probably wondering why I'm hiding with a pumpkin on my head. Well, since this server's in Bedrock Edition, I can wear pumpkins or mob heads to hide from other players' locator maps. I moved to grind for some gear once more. Once I had recovered, I looked for my revenge.
Well. How the turntables...
Little did I know that these were the very children of my enemy's pet villager, Pedro. Both Pedro and his wife were kept inside the villager baby factory. I wanted to kill Pedro, but I noticed that he had mending books for really cheap. But before I could do anything, my enemy joined the game. Oh, I had no choice but to call it a day. I realized I couldn't just wear a pumpkin head whenever I wanted to hide, so I set off to an unlooted ancient city to collect a few skeleton skulls instead. Oh. I finally found a skull and finished my little quest. From then on, I felt safe and continued to grow my dog army and upgrade my armor. I was finally making some progress, but all hopes of raising a dog army were thrown out the window. When I logged on later in the week, Pedro's owner and a few others, who identified themselves as the Flame, had found and griefed my base. Not only was my home destroyed, but they killed my dogs and kidnapped my most prized pet, Bernificus. Plus, now that my dog army was in shambles, I had to scrap the video idea I was working on and change it to this video about Pedro. That is, if I didn't want to throw away the footage I had so far. Since my base was found, my first move was to leave and then find a way to get revenge. Again. After looking for a while, I ended up finding some of the enemy's bases. I decided that if I couldn't have a nice base, nobody could. I still wasn't satisfied, so I hunted to kill Pedro. I even searched the Nether and the End. I was in for a surprise once I jumped into that End portal. There they were, Bernificus and Pedro's wife. Pedro wasn't there, so I did what I could with what I had. I knew that if I rescued Bernificus, there would be a short amount of time before he was stolen again or killed. So I had to make the tough call to put him down. That way, I robbed the enemy of the pleasure of doing it himself. With that out of the way, I worked on gearing myself up and hunting down Pedro and whatever was left of his family. Eventually, I found what seemed to be like an old villager breeder. In fact, it looked like someone tried to erase any evidence of what it was. I didn't find anything useful, but if that structure was what I thought it was, then there would be even more villagers to kill than I thought. Oh, hello there. You should take me to your secret town. Oh. This might actually be too easy. After following this guy for a while, we eventually arrived to the enemy base. Once there, I couldn't find much except a few buildings and chests filled with trash and books dedicated to Pedro. This isn't very important to the story, but I found this in a book. Jokes aside, the best thing I found in the town was this room that I'd seen in a screenshot with Pedro. However, in a different play session, I explored the town's outskirts and found this! The last remnant of Pedro's children. Franz, Howie, Jeff, Francine, and Wally. I made sure to kill them immediately. Still, Bernificus's revenge wouldn't be complete until Pedro was dead, but within a few days I was sent this video. Pedro's owner decided to rid me of Bernificus's revenge by killing Pedro himself and eating his rotten flesh. To add insult to injury, he did it using the sword I had when he first killed me. Although Pedro was dead, not all hope for vengeance was lost, since Pedro's owner had been advertising in the server group chat that there was one last Pedronian descendant, Peppo. With Peppo alive, Pedro's legacy as a killer and destroyer would live on, but before I could find him, my enemy sent the cords and told me to end it. Oh. In that moment that I was face to face with the spawn of Pedro, I hesitated because I didn't know if doing what the enemy wanted was the right decision. But I realized that this war had gone on for far too long and it needed to end. And that's the tragedy of Pedro the Villager. You can't really say anybody won that war, but it sure makes for a good story. If you were wondering why I never mentioned Pedro's owner by name, this is his game tag. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video, especially since it isn't scripted like many other SMP videos. I know it's been hilariously long since I last uploaded, but I'll try to upload again soon. If you want to see another video like this, please consider liking it or even subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next one.